Hello there, Team Creative. Welcome to another video by me, your friendly neighborhood helel. Things are pretty good here in sunny, well, rainy Accra, and it got me thinking about some things. I'm about to start a new project and I'm so excited about where it could go. I'm thinking about the ending, I'm thinking about the middle, and then my mind went to the beginning. Then panic reared its ugly head. How are we gonna do this? How are we gonna accomplish that? Can we even afford a freaking clown? I mean, who can afford a whole ass clown? Anyway, I started to think about how we begin things, how I was so fixated on the big steps, I didn't think about the smaller steps. So this video is about that, about taking smaller steps. So let's talk about it. So if you believe what they say, you and I came from a sperm and an egg. And if you want to go even further than that, those sperm and eggs are made up of DNA, which is made up of molecules, which is made up of atoms, which is made up of electrons and protons and neutrons and probably something else the scientists will discover in the next 20 minutes. Anyway, what the hell does this have to do with creativity, you ask? Well, no. Well, I'm gonna tell you anyway. Starting from smaller steps is how you realize your vision. You can't jump into your creative projects already finished. That's not possible. You gotta have an idea of where you want to end, but you gotta go with the steps. The smaller steps. Wait, let me go back a bit. Before you can even start with your individual creative projects, you have to think about your career. Everyone want to be the top dog in their field. The Da Vinci's, the DiCaprios, the Roberto Baggios. But you know all these guys had to start somewhere, right? So too do you need to start from somewhere. It's super cliche, but the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Sometimes that one step is the decision to start a creative venture, a creative career, or whatever that might be. And after you've done that step, you go to the next one. And the next one is, what do I even create? Funny enough, this is the same question that a creative further along in their career would also ask themselves. What am I trying to create? What ideas, what themes am I trying to explore? And how am I going to explore them? I can't help you figure out exactly what to create, but I can help you figure out how to create when you get to the point that you do know what you want to create. As Morpheus said, I can only show you the door. You must walk through it. This process looks different for everybody. I'll use myself as an example. My musical project. The first step, the first decision was deciding that I actually could write lyrics. I mean, I've written poetry my whole life. I really love music. I've dabbled in rapping a little bit. So one day I was like, you know what? Poetry and rapping are kind of similar. But it's just like rapping is like to a beat or to like a melody or something like that. So I was like, you know what? Let me give it a try. So my intention was set. I want to write lyrics. I want to write songs. So that was the first step. And the first step I feel like is always like intention. What do you want to do? That's the first step, is deciding that I want to do this thing. And my intention was to write lyrics based on my passion for music and my pre-existing foundation of writing poetry. You could even make the argument that my talent for poetry was the first step. But I feel like if we keep going far back, then the first step is gonna be like my great grandmother meeting my great grandfather. And where would that take us? Well, probably on an interesting and exciting trip down West African history, but that's not what this video is about. So that was a tangent. So I want to write lyrics. First step, intention. Second step, learn the basics. So I read about lyric writing from the University of YouTube, and my professor was Google. I asked my friends who wrote lyrics. I researched other songwriters that I really admire. Dido, The Dream, David Bowie, Sting, Joni Mitchell. So if a cool melody came into my head, I hummed it on voice recorder and then save it for later. I say all of this because it all started from the first step. And rushing any part of this process would have made the whole thing quite tedious. That being said, my first step and your first step may be completely different. I started from where I did in lyric writing because I had a background in something that was quite similar, poetry. So songwriting didn't come so difficult to me. Some people may find that their first step may be taking a class or something different. Really depends on where you are in your creative journey and exactly what you're trying to do. So say I was into something like painting and I wanted to move into writing lyrics. Those two skill sets are quite different and use different parts of the brain. So like that would be a much more difficult transition than from, say, if I was a sketch artist and I wanted to move into painting. That would be a little bit more smoother because they're within the same realm. Not that it wouldn't be difficult, it will still be difficult, but it's still quite similar. Poetry and lyrics are quite similar, so it's a little bit of an easier transition. Not saying that it will be super easy, but like it's like script writing and short story writing. If I'm writing short stories and I'm writing scripts, they're quite similar. They're not exactly the same, but moving from one into the other won't be as difficult. Taking small steps in my songwriting journey is what made me into the songwriter that I am today, which is a pretty freaking awesome songwriter, if I do say so myself, and probably only me saying so for now. So let's say, for example, you want to do a dope mixtape. The first thing you want to visualize is the final step, right? The mixtape being done, hearing your songs on the radio, people walking up to you in the street and saying, hey, I really like your shit. The sound of money entering your bank account, right? This is what you want to visualize. And 100% this is what you want to focus on, right? So visualizing the smaller steps is how you build towards allowing your mind to see the path towards finishing the project. Because if you've never done something before, like that big, like a musical project, like a mixtape, your brain can't really fathom the fact that you've done it already. Yes, you can believe that you've done it and have that intention in your mind and have the visualization, and yes, 100% do that. However, I would also advise visualizing the smaller steps that build up to that bigger step, so you can give your brain, you can give your mind the ability to see the path towards that. Visualizing the smaller goals gives your subconscious mind the confidence to know that you can actually achieve that bigger goal, and it gives you that extra energy, that extra power when you're moving towards your goal, because you already have the plan laid out, so you have confidence in what you're going to do. So it's practical in like a logistic sense because you're like planning things out, but it's also practical in like a subconscious universe sense, because what you're doing is you're creating a pathway for yourself and your subconscious to see your success in the future. Visualizing the smaller steps gives your subconscious mind the evidence that it is possible. Oh, and take your time. Remember, this is a process, okay? So try your best to enjoy it. Remember to celebrate your victories, no matter how small, and go for a walk. You deserve it. So that's all I have time for you guys today. What are some projects that you're visualizing towards? Tell me, has visualization ever worked for you? Let me know in the comments. Please like and subscribe and stay classy, and don't forget to create. Peace.